Welcome to Day 10 of Math 111. We're going to be talking about types of numbers for part of this lesson. Because we use numbers in different ways, we have names for the different types of ways that we use numbers. The three categories are cardinal numbers, ordinal numbers, and nominal numbers. Let's explore each of these. Starting with cardinal numbers, we see the definition here. Cardinal numbers are the numbers that we use when we count objects. So when we talk about seeing 3 dogs in the yard, or perhaps saying something like, we have 2 cars, then we're using cardinal numbers. You can read the examples here. The second type of number is an ordinal number. You may think order whenever you see this name. Ordinal numbers are used when we want to express where an object is in an ordered sequence. So when you are saying something like, I graduated 3rd in my class, then you are using an ordinal number. I'll pause and let you read the rest of these examples. The third type of number is a nominal number, and this is used to name something or identify something. So examples here include your ID number at school, perhaps your driver's license number, your phone number, a serial number on your computer, things of this nature. These are nominal numbers. Let's look at some application and see if we can identify correctly the type of number being used. In this example, we have the sentence about a daughter on the cell phone to her mother. I'm 3rd in line. There are 2 people ahead of me. We actually have 2 uses of numbers here, 3rd and 2. So what type of number is 3rd? What type of number is 2? 3rd is an ordinal number because the girl is talking about her placement in line in a sequence. 2 is a cardinal number because she is counting. Here's another example. The winner of the drawing is number 546713. What type of number is this? This is an example of a nominal number because it is used for identification. Here's another example. 16 students received awards at the 45th Annual Honors Day banquet. We have 2 types of numbers being used here, 16 and 45th. What type of number is 16? What type of number is 45th? 16 is a cardinal number since it counts the number of students. 45th is talking about the order in a sequence. So this is an ordinal number. We worked with Venn diagrams in the previous lesson. Remember that we talked about the different regions in a Venn diagram, and we looked at the meaning associated with each region. Remember also that the overlapping regions in a Venn diagram represent intersections of subsets of the universal set. We will be looking at applications of this today. We want to create a Venn diagram for the pieces in the attribute block kit using 3 subsets. The 3 subsets that we want to use involve the attributes yellow, large, and triangle. To make our Venn diagrams, we will be using some special manipulatives here. We have something called grouping circles. And for those of you who are going to be teachers, this is a really nice object to have. They fold for easy storage. You can see one, the red one, that is folded and it folds out into a circle. And they come in 3 colors, red, yellow, and blue. We're going to lay out the grouping circles so that they overlap similar to a Venn diagram. So we need to identify which ring goes with which attribute. So the problem is, again, create a Venn diagram for the pieces in the attribute block kit using 3 subsets. The attributes that we are using are yellow, large, and triangle. So I'm designating the yellow ring to denote the yellow attribute. The blue ring will denote the large attribute, and the red ring will denote the triangle attribute. I have labeled them here in this picture so that we can remember. It's been a few days since we used the attribute blocks, so I've laid out the whole kit. You can see the different shapes, the colors, the sizes, and remember we have thick and thin of each one. So to begin the process, you need to begin placing attribute blocks in areas of the Venn diagram that make sense. So the person who began this one began by placing all the yellow shapes in the yellow ring. The next step was to put the remaining large shapes in the blue ring. Remember that ring represents the large attribute. The triangles went in the red ring, and then all leftover pieces were placed outside. I want to stress that this is just a beginning. It's a way of starting your process, and then you can refine it as you go. We talked in the last lesson about how the different regions in the Venn diagram have special meaning. So I've got all of this labeled here. I'd like you to pause the video and study what the regions mean in the context of this problem. So pause the video and restart it after you've read the screen. What we see here is the refined version of the grouping. The pieces have been put in their proper places. So notice in the overlap of the 3 rings, you've got the large yellow triangles, just the 2 of them. And then the red triangles and the blue triangles are in the overlap of the triangle and large sets. They're separated from the yellow ones because they are obviously not in the yellow category. Go back if you need to and make sure you understand the meaning of every part of the Venn diagram. Here's a problem we want to explore. This is found on page 83 in your textbook. This is example 2.9. In a recent survey, the 60 students living in Harris Hall were asked about their enrollment in science, engineering, and humanities classes. Results were as follows. We see here a listing of the numbers of students in various categories. In order to solve this problem, we will begin by drawing a Venn diagram. And the three classes that were mentioned were science, engineering, and humanities. So we'll label a ring for each one of those. In order to fill in the Venn diagram, we begin with the last line of information since it contains the data for the intersection of all three subsets. That last line of information said that 2 students are taking classes in all 3 areas. So this is the overlap of the 3 subject areas. We're told that 5 students are taking both science and engineering classes. Notice that science and engineering overlap, and really that intersection is split by the place where we already had the 2. And so we have to have a total of 5, so 2 have already been placed there, and so 5 minus 2 is 3, so we're going to put a 3 there in the intersection of science and engineering. It's just the overlap of the 2 and not in the overlap of all 3 rings. So you have to do some subtracting in order to find the number that goes in that spot. We're told that 4 students are taking both science and humanities classes. 2 of the 4 are already listed there in the intersection of all 3. So we subtract 4 minus 2 equals 2, and the remaining 2 will go in the intersection outside there. So you've got a 2 here, that's the intersection of all 3, and then the remaining 2 are out here. We're told in the information that 3 students are taking both engineering and humanities classes. So again, we subtract. 3 minus 2 is 1. We subtract the 2 because that's the intersection of all 3 parts, and the 1 remaining student's out here. Right, so when we add these, we should get the numbers that are given to us. 1 plus 2 is 3, 2 plus 2 is 4, and 3 plus 2 is 5. So we see the numbers in the data that were given to us. Now we look at 3 more pieces of data. We're told that 24 students are taking science class. We have to subtract the numbers that we've already put in the Venn diagram. So in this science ring, we'll see that we already have 3, 2, and 2. We have to subtract these from the 24, which you see on the left of your screen there. 24 minus 3 minus 2 minus 2 is 17. So the 17 goes in that part that is just for science alone. We do the same thing with the engineering students. There are 22 taking an engineering class. So here we have engineering, and we have to subtract 3, 2, and 1. These numbers are in the engineering ring, right? So we'll subtract 22 minus 3 minus 2 minus 1, and that leaves 16, which we'll put in the portion of the engineering ring that is not in any intersection. We do the same thing with the 17 students taking humanities class. The humanities ring incorporates the 2, 2, and 1 that are already here in these intersections, and so we have to subtract those so that we end up with 12. Right? And again, just remind you, when you add all these up, you should get the total that's given to you in the data. 12 plus 2 plus 2 plus 1 is 17. Right? In the engineering ring, 16 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1 is 22. And in the science area, you need to add all these. 17 plus 3 plus 2 plus 2, that's 24. is designated in the science class. There's one more thing that we must do. The problem said that there were 60 students that were polled. When we add all of the numbers already in the Venn diagram, 17, 3, 2, 2, 16, 1, and 12, we end up with 53. There are 7 students missing. These would be students who are not in science, engineering, or humanities. So they go outside the rings, and I've just put them here in the lower right corner. They can go anywhere that you choose in some space, but that number needs to be listed in the universe, but outside the rings. Think about how we went through this problem. This solution method is really common when working with Venn diagrams. Notice that there's an element of working backwards as the solution develops here. You will want to follow this process as you work similar problems.